children, welcome. How are you all? I hope you all are doing well. Children, in this video, we will study English literature. A new chapter, that is Rip Van Winkle. Rip Van Winkle, students, was a good-natured but lazy man who goes away into the hills and falls asleep. When he awakens 20 years later, he finds that quite a few things have changed. Many years ago, at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains was a little village. In the village lived a simple, good-natured fellow named Rip Van Winkle. He was a kind neighbor, ready to help anyone. Everyone in the village liked him. The children of the village shouted with joy whenever they saw him because he played with them, taught them to fly kites and shoot marbles, and told them long stories. So, students, at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains, there was a little village where a simple, good-natured and kind man, Rip Van Winkle, used to live. He was liked by all. He played with all the children, taught them to fly kites, shoot marbles, and also told them long stories. The only problem with Rip was that he was very lazy. He did no work on his farm and just idled away his time. His fences were falling to pieces. His cow was going astray. Weeds grew on his farm. Rip's constant companion was his dog named Wolf. To avoid work, he would walk away into the forest with his dog. So one bad thing, children, about Rip was that he was very lazy. He did no work on his farm and just idled away his time. Idled away means wasted. The fences of his farm were falling to pieces and cow was going astray. Astray means to be lost. Weeds, that is unwanted plants, grew on his farm. Rip had a constant companion, and that was a dog whose name was Wolf. To avoid work, Rip would go on walks into the forest with his dog named Wolf. One day, Rip just walked on and reached the highest part of the mountains. It was late in the afternoon when he reached there. Tired after his long climb, he lay down and began daydreaming. It was soon evening and he realized it would be night by the time he reached his village. So, children, one day Rip just walked on until he reached the highest part of the mountain. It was late afternoon when he reached there. He was very exhausted and so he thought to lay down there for a while. He began daydreaming. Daydreaming means lost in a thought. Now it was soon evening and he realized that it would be night by the time he will reach back to his village. Suddenly, he heard a voice calling out, "Rip Van Winkle, Rip Van Winkle." He looked around and saw a short old man with thick hair and grizzled beard walking towards him with a barrel. He made signs to help him carry the barrel. Rip hurried to help the stranger who caught his hand tightly. Together, they reached a place where there were some more odd-looking men playing ninepins. They all were dressed the same way and all of them had beards of various shapes and colors. So, children, when Rip was still on the mountain, he heard a voice calling out his name. He looked around and saw a short old man with thick hair and grizzled beard. Grizzled means with grey hair, walking towards Rip with a barrel. This wooden container is a barrel. He wanted Rip's help in carrying the barrel. When Rip hurried to help him, the old man held his hand tightly and took him to a place where there were some more odd-looking men who were dressed in same manner and had beards of various shapes and colors. They all were playing a game known as ninepins. Even though they were playing a game, their faces were serious and there was silence. The only sound was the noise of the balls which echoed in the mountains like thunder. Children, usually when we play games, we are in a happy mood, rejoicing and having fun. But on contrary, these men were not enjoying. Their faces were serious and there was complete silence. The only sound that was heard was the noise of the balls which echoed like thunder. Echoed means repeated reply or sound. As Rip and his companion reached them, they stopped playing and stared at Rip with a fixed gaze. Rip was really frightened. His companion emptied the contents of the barrel into glasses and made Rip drink it. Rip obeyed as he was trembling with fear. Since he was thirsty, he drank a few more glasses and slowly fell into a deep sleep. All of them stared at Rip. Children, stared means looked fixedly at. So all of them stared Rip. Rip was really frightened. One of the strange men emptied the content of the barrel into glass and gave Rip to drink it. Since Rip was terrified, he obeyed the stranger. Rip was also thirsty, so he did not hesitate to drink a few more glasses of it, and now he fell into a deep sleep. On waking up, he found that he was at the place where he had first met the old man. He rubbed his eyes. It was a bright sunny morning. Surely I have not slept here all night, thought Rip. Children, Rip woke up from his deep sleep and found himself at the same place where he had first met the old man. It was a bright sunny morning. He was sure that he did not sleep there whole night. He looked around for Wolf, but he was nowhere. Rip whistled for him. Wolf, Wolf, he then shouted. No dog was to be seen. Where has this dog gone? He muttered to himself. Muttered means something spoken in a low tone. He began to descend the mountain to go back to his village. Now, children, Rip was searching for his dog Wolf. He whistled for him and also called out its name several times, but could not find it anywhere. Disappointed, he began to descend the mountain to go back to his village. Descend means to come down. As he neared the village, he met a number of people, but he didn't know any of them. The villagers also stared at him, equally surprised. Who is this man? Said one. I have never seen him before, said another. Look at his long white beard and his wrinkled face. Now, children, as Rip reached near his village, he could not recognize anyone there. Neither could the people of the village recognize Rip. They all were talking about his long white beard and wrinkled face. On hearing this, Rip stroked his chin, and to his astonishment means great surprise, he found his beard had grown a foot long and it was all white. Now, on hearing the discussion, Rip stroked his chin and was greatly surprised to see his 1 foot long beard which was all white. An old woman walked up to him and looked at his face for a moment. Then she exclaimed, It is Rip Van Winkle. Welcome home again, old neighbor. Where have you been these 20 long years? So, children, just then an old woman came and she looked at Rip's face. She recognized and welcomed him. Also, she asked him that where was he from these long 20 years. This means that because of drinking that content from the barrel, Rip fell asleep for long 20 years. So, children, what moral do we get from this lesson? Is that we should not be lazy and always do our work on time, because time once gone never comes back. Children, I hope that you have understood this chapter well. Okay, children, thank you and stay safe.